I'm going to say something that a lot of channels in this space won't say. If you hate women, you have not taken the red pill. You have just found a new way to be weak. I know that's not what you want to hear. The internet will tell you that hating women is awareness, that it's clarity, that you've finally seen through the lies and now you know the truth. But here's what's actually happening. A man who has built himself, truly built himself, from the inside out, with standards, with purpose, with genuine self-mastery, does not hate women. He doesn't have the time, he doesn't have the need, and he doesn't have the emptiness that hatred requires to survive. Hatred is not strength, it is an open wound dressed up as a personality. And today I'm going to tell you exactly why, if you're carrying that hatred, you have already lost the most important battle of all. The one with yourself. Smash like, subscribe for more Sigma Mindset content, and let's get into it. Let's be honest about where woman hatred in these communities actually comes from. It doesn't come from strength. It comes from pain. Rejection that was never processed. Relationships that went badly and were never understood. A sense of powerlessness around women that was never resolved, just redirected into resentment. The red pill, at its best, was supposed to be about self-awareness, about understanding dynamics, building yourself, and navigating the world with clear eyes. But for a lot of men, it became something else entirely. A permission slip for bitterness. A community that validated their wounds instead of challenging them to heal. An identity built around what they're against instead of what they're building. That is not self-improvement. That is self-destruction with better branding. Truth 1, hatred is the proof that something still has power over you. Think about this carefully. You don't hate things that don't affect you. You hate things that hurt you, things you wanted and couldn't have, things you don't understand and can't control. Hatred is not freedom from something, it is attachment to it in the most painful form possible. The man who says he hates women is not a man who has moved beyond them. He is a man who thinks about them constantly, who measures his worth against their reactions, who organizes his identity around his relationship or lack of one with them. That is not power. That is obsession wearing the mask of indifference. A truly self-possessed man, a man who has done the real work, is not defined by his relationship to women at all. He has a life, a mission, a standard. Women are a part of that life, not the axis it rotates around. The goal was never to hate them, it was to stop needing their validation. Those are completely different things. Truth 2, resentment keeps you exactly where you are. Here is the brutal truth about carrying hatred toward any group of people. It consumes the energy you need to build. Every hour spent consuming content that feeds your resentment, every conversation where you bond over bitterness, every mental loop of grievance and anger. That is energy that could have gone into your body, your skills, your finances, your purpose. The most successful, genuinely self-made men, the ones who actually built the life that this community claims to want, are almost never the ones drowning in resentment. They are too busy, too focused, too locked in on what they're creating to spend significant time and energy on what they're against. Resentment is a tax on your potential. And the longer you pay it, the further behind you fall. While you're angry, other men are building. That is the real competition, and hatred is making you lose it. Truth 3, the men women are genuinely drawn to are not men who hate them. This is worth saying plainly, because the entire Red Pill project is supposed to be about understanding attraction. So let's talk about attraction honestly. Women are not attracted to men who resent them. They are attracted to men who are complete without them. There is a massive difference. The man who is bitter, guarded, and contemptuous, who makes his disdain known, subtly or openly, does not read as strong. He reads as wounded. And wounded men, regardless of how they dress it up, signal one thing to everyone around them. Something broke me, and I never fixed it. The man who is genuinely attractive, the man with presence, with standards, with a life worth respecting, carries none of that. He is warm without being needy, direct without being contemptuous, strong without being hostile. He doesn't hate women. He simply has a life so full and a standard so high that only the right woman fits into it. That is not a red pill. That is not a blue pill. That is just a man who has done the work. Truth 4, generalizing makes you intellectually lazy and keeps you from understanding reality clearly. One of the core promises of the red pill was seeing the world more clearly. But hating women as a group is the opposite of clear vision. It is pattern matching from pain. Taking real experiences, real rejections, real betrayals, real disappointments, and using them to build a story about half the human population. That story feels logical, it feels justified, but it is not accurate, and a man who operates on inaccurate beliefs makes bad decisions. He misreads situations, he projects, he pushes away people who could have added to his life because his filter is set to threat, not reality. Clear eyes don't mean cynical eyes. Clear eyes mean the ability to see each situation for what it actually is, without the distortion of unresolved pain layered over everything. The Sigma mindset is not about distrust as a default. It is about discernment, standards, judgment. See clearly, choose wisely, trust earned, not given freely, and not withheld permanently. Here's what nobody in these communities wants to talk about. The pain that drives the hatred is real. Rejection is real. Betrayal is real. Feeling invisible, disrespected, or taken advantage of, that is real. And it deserves to be acknowledged. But acknowledged, not weaponized. The real work, the work that actually leads to the life you want, is not building a stronger wall around the wound. It is healing it. Understanding where it came from, taking responsibility for what you can control, building yourself into a man whose worth doesn't depend on anyone's validation, not women's, not the internet's, not anyone's. That is hard work, quiet work, unglamorous work. It doesn't get as many clicks as rage content, but it is the only work that actually moves you forward. A man at war with half the world has no energy left to build his place in it. Make peace with the wound, then build something worth being proud of. That is the Sigma path, not hatred, not bitterness. Mastery and the quiet confidence that comes from it. So here's the truth this video was built around. If you hate women, you have not leveled up, you have stalled. Because hatred is not awareness, it is a wound that never healed. Because resentment doesn't build anything, it just burns the energy you need to. Because the men who actually attract the right people into their lives are not the men drowning in contempt. Because generalizing keeps you from seeing clearly, and you cannot navigate well with blurred vision. And because the real work, the inner work, is the only thing that actually changes your life. You don't have to love everyone. You don't have to be naive. You don't have to lower your standards or ignore red flags. But you do have to let go of the hatred. Not for their sake, for yours. Because a man carrying that weight, no matter how strong he looks on the outside, is not free. And freedom is the whole point. Like this video if it challenged you in the right way. Subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll keep saying what needs to be said. The real red pill isn't hating women. It's building a life so good you don't have the space for hate. I'll see you at the top.